Okay. Are you familiar with the process?
No, I didn't. I wasn't part of the practice rounds. I mean, I'm familiar just based on what I've read, but I didn't take part in the practice rounds.
I just heard what they said in the main meeting, so I'm just checking. Hello.
Hey, is it pronounced Rieki? How do you pronounce your name?
Rieki, right? Like a grain, key like a door.
Okay, nice.
How's it going, Josh?
Good news. Yourself?
Doing good. Lighting here is terrible, but it is what it is.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey guys,
Hello. Hey there.
everyone can hear me, right? I'm trying to get my settings set up here. We're good to
Yep.
go. Awesome.
We're just missing one more. Bo. I'll send a message, see if he's coming. Says his username does not exist on Telegram.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking for him in the group. I'm not seeing him. So there's one guy named Bayo. Let's see if this could be him. I'll send this Bayo guy a message. I guess we'll give him a couple minutes and get started with that. EB.
All right.
Yes,
So we-
from the world, where's everyone located?
I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
I'm right next door in Montreal.
Oh yeah, nice. I was up there not too long ago.
I'm over here in Germany, Dresden.
Very nice. You, Rieki?
It's been nice. I'm in Bali at the moment, so it's coming to the end of my day. So my brain's kind of falling asleep, but
No,
you guys are all in Canada.
No, David's in Germany.
Oh,
right.
got it.
Germany is near Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right next door, right? Yeah.
3 p.m. for me, so almost, yeah.
I have noticed a lot of Canadians on EOS, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but it seems that way.
Did me and David, before you guys joined, we and David said we hadn't participated in the practice rounds. Had either of you guys done the practice rounds or no?
I haven't done anything, no.
I was halfway part of a practice round, but then I needed to go to sleep because everything's really late for me. So I have the general gist of it, which is essentially we're going to talk, get to know each other. Everyone makes their case about why they might move on to the next round. I think we have dialogue to best figure out who's going to move on to the next round, and we try to form consensus.
Perfect.
Right. So like an
So-
introduction, and then this group decides basically with a consensus among itself who would be the best fit, right?
Right.
Cool.
And generally that was everyone kind of presenting, what they're bringing to EOSIO, what they might bring to this movement, maybe how they've been showing up so far in this space, just whatever they feel is important for the group to know that might, help them be selected if that's their end goal, or provide more information to the group to best select somebody else. Because that's what I would like to see. The result of this is we step out of our egos and try to be selected necessarily, and use it as more of a collective intelligence process to work together to find the best candidate.
Yeah,
And then we all can get behind our candidate and try to get them to win.
it's cool to use technology to facilitate that. I'm familiar with processes where you do that, like in the talking stick like format in a group, and but you don't have something in the background where you can just click and then the contract does it. So that's pretty cool then.
How do you guys feel about getting started without BO, since we can't contact him and we don't know if and when he's going to join?
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at this point, probably get started. Yeah.
Yep.
Does anyone want to kick off the introductions?
I'll introduce myself. My name's Jesse. Like I said, I'm from Toronto, Ontario. I actually grew up on a reserve 4 hours north of Toronto, so Wissahickon First Nation. How did I get into EOS? I had a couple friends that were interested in Ethereum, and I started reading up on blockchains, and I started reading up on Dan Larimer, and that's what kind of got me hooked on EOS. So I've been around here for a while, and I just keep on trying to participate in the community. And yeah, it's become more than a hobby. It's something I'm interested in a lot. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, I'll go next. So as I said before, as well, I'm in Montreal, Canada. So how I got into EOS is that I started working with EOS Canada. I don't know if any of you guys were around during Genesis when everything booted off. So we ended up becoming the team that kind of rallied the groups. We held all the big meetings. If anyone was part of those 200-person Zoom meetings where we're trying to get all the BPs together to bootstrap the network, let's get things loaded. So yeah, I guess that was back in June of 2018. So I started in March of 2018 working on EOS full time. Then EOS Canada, we were amongst the top 21 for a long time. We were the only team that basically refused to ever take vote buybacks. We didn't do any reward sharing because we were putting out a lot of open source tech, and we wanted to continue doing that. So we ended up shutting down EOS Canada so we can focus full time on Diffuse. And I don't know if anyone here is familiar at all with the developer framework behind EOS, but Diffuse is the only third-party integration that's gotten into Node EOS, like the core software of the blockchain. So we want to focus full-time on Diffuse so we can support as many developers and dApps as we could in the system. And then we open sourced Diffuse so that we wouldn't be the only ones running it. EOS Nation took it over so that we wouldn't even be making money off of the clients. We wanted EOS Nation keep funding and working towards the community that way. And then we had to actually rebrand our company to Streaming Fast because apparently Diffuse, we spelled DFUSE, someone spells it DFUZE, so we couldn't actually continue. So then we became Streaming Fast, so that's who I am now, you see on my name. And Streaming Fast, we work across multiple blockchains. We're one of the core dev teams of the Graph, if anyone's ever heard of the Graph. So we work on the Graph, we're on Ethereum, Solana, Near, you name it, we've probably been dabbling with the different blockchains. So that's what I do.
Nice.
Thanks. I go next. So I just came to crypto at the start of this year, and I kind of ended up in Telegram communities around Wax, and I got met the Crown community and ended up in Alien Worlds. So handling support in Alien Worlds, and I came to Alien Worlds because of the governance aspect, because I'm kind of a bit of a governance nerd in offline governance methods. Like I looked at sociocracy or certain methods, like how can a group make decisions right efficiently and constructively and synergistically and all these things. So I was interested how to utilize technology to get around some of the friction or the pain points you have with humans coming together and costing a lot of time. So I was interested in that. And when I heard in the Crown community that is a thing, that people are working on that and they're using smart contracts for that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. So basically my friends in Crown invited me to join the Eden community because it was kind of going in that direction. So I'm not like a developer deeply focused. I'm more of an enthusiast for governance in general and work with methods to enable and empower groups of people.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Josh, way to go with EOS Canada. I voted for you guys. I didn't actually know much about you. I just, I figured Canadians mostly got their shit together. So you got my vote simply from that. Yeah, so my crypto journey started maybe early January or early 2011, back when you could actually mine with 3G graphics cards before ASICs fucked it all up. Started with like BitShares with, following Dan back those days. BitShares is really cool. I was actually talking about currencies, which, Bitcoin at that point was really showing that it wasn't really going to be a currency, more digital gold, not necessarily replacement for the dollar. So that's where I got really excited about that, and particularly Steam, what came next, because then we had on-chain platforms that were free to use. And that's what was going to ultimately, surpass the dollar in my mind, is something that has no transaction fees. I thought that was great. So we were really excited about EOS in the early days as part of this first hackathons, where we brought Seeds and Haifa, both those projects, to the Hong Kong hackathon here, which is where I ended up meeting most of the EOS groups. Put a developer team together, and we've been building for the last couple of years. David, you mentioned sociocracy. I think that's great. We actually built a sociocratic DAO, which is what Haifa is.
Oh, cool.
It's running on EOS.io right now. We built most of our stuff on Telos. I'll just be frank, because EOS didn't have the best community, or at least sense of what the community was about. I got a bad rap early in the days, just a whole lot of drama that I'm sure some of you know about. And Telos was just easier to use. We felt like it was more of a test environment. It was really cheap. For example, we could subsidize accounts for 3 cents opposed to $5. So it was kind of nice to just kind of build there. So we've been building on Telos for the last 3 years. My intention now is to come back into EOS.io now, or sorry, EOS now with Eden, and a refocus and resurgence on actually getting the community to govern the chain. I think that's really awesome. So what Haifa is, it's a DAO. It's the only one really doing on-chain governance. While most other DAOs are, basically just a 3 out of 5 multi-sig or something like that, or doing off-chain governance. And EOS.io to me is the only platform to do DAOs right now, because no one wants to fucking pay to vote. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And then Seeds is it's an algorithmic stable currency. It's more like a different type of economic system. So when I talked about currency, I think EOS.io is really the only place to beat out the dollar, because any new technology needs to be 10 times better than the previous technology to really get adoption, right? And if we try to surpass the dollar, which in person it's free to use, it's anonymous, like no crypto today is better than cash in person, right? So how do you get better than cash? Well, you need something that's, better than free to use, or, adding more benefits than, free, anonymous, and instant would provide. And you needed a framework that's already starting off free, which is what EOS.io provides, and then building benefits on top of it for using it, such as getting, part of the inflation rewards. So you can imagine if, you got a kickback from the Federal Reserve for being a loyal dollar user or whatever, you might want to use that currency. So this is kind of the idea. So you can make better than free currencies in crypto. And honestly, EOS.io is the best technology suited for it. Really love building with this tech. Again, been building for the last, since it launched, really. The multi-signature contracts, how you can set up different governance regimes on it, that's just not even possible in any other ecosystem. So I think EOS.io is, from the tech standpoint, light years away from most of the other technology. It just needs some support from the community, which is what I'm really excited about seeing come around right now. So that's why I'm actually part of, EdenOnEOS, and what I'm really excited to see is how you can bring the community back on board, give them these really powerful governance tools, and see what happens when, people really start taking over the chain and driving and governing it and directing it. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Awesome.
I guess one quick question that might help streamline some of the discussion is going to be, is there anyone—
Could it stream it fast?
Yeah, exactly. Is there
And
anyone
Andrew.
amongst the four of us that that doesn't care to or doesn't want to go to the next round? You just want to take part and see what it was, because maybe that'll help to streamline some of the discussion.
Yeah, I'm not looking to do that.
Okay. I have
Myself either.
I have no vested interest in going to the next round. So if, let's say, Rieke's like, I really want to go for it, I'm happy right there to say he'd be more and more invested. Personally, I'm very happy to take part in this and see what's going on. And basically, amongst my team, I'm the governance guy, so that's why I'm like, oh, this is an amazing experiment. That's why I'm the main reason why I'm here. Obviously, it sounds like you're still very, very invested and still very, very participate. You're very, very heavily participating still in the EOS.io community, whereas admittedly I'm not as before. I'm just put it out there and make sure everyone has like those thoughts in mind as we go forward. Jesse and David, when you said you're not, is that more of like you specifically don't want to be, or you're not here to try and become a representative?
For me, I just wanted to see what it was all about, how it worked, and I do want to make you know, some points for the EOS Bs, and I just wanted to see how it would all work out, and if you know, how I was going to be making those points. So this is kind of like a test run for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same for me. I'm here for the experience, basically, you could say.
So I guess, Jesse, you brought up EOS Bs. What's tell me why you feel EOS Bs or not?
Well, I've been here since Genesis, and you know, I think we can all agree it's been up and down battle, right? Up and down hill battle. So I just want to help eliminate some of the ongoing FUD that exists, and just make sure people are getting the right information about the EOS blockchain. So especially with all these new opportunities that are going to be coming up, I think something like the EOS Bs who can use they have a competitive advantage of working with a bunch of different languages, and speaking to all those different groups and making sure everyone's relaying the same information. I think that's a really great resource for the community. So yeah, that's my main thing that I'm involved in right now, and I just want to help them out a little bit.
David, did you have any specific groups or action items that you thought deserved funding the most?
In this group, or in general in the Eden EOS?
In general, EOS.
Well, I'm honestly not very much involved in I mean, I'm connected to the EOS.io space in Eden through the Crown community, basically, and so I'm in conversation with people doing stuff on Eden, on EOS, but since I'm not that technical, I'm seeing more like the bigger picture and how it interacts with other entities or blockchains. I mean, TLOS got the EVM in testnet and stuff like things happening. So I don't know what it really means on the deeper level. WAX will have an EVM maybe in the future soon. So things are definitely going somewhere. So, but don't have anything specific.
And I guess Rieki.
Since you can't facilitate for yourself, Josh, I could pass it to you.
Sorry.
Maybe I'll go first. I was passing it to you, but I love this question. Thank you. I think there's two things that I think is huge in this crypto space as a whole right now that I think could set EOS apart, and that's DAOs and flat coins. So flat coins are different than stable currencies. Stable tokens are, you know, pegging it to $1, a euro, or whatever. Why flat token is, it's taking a different type of stabilization approach that should stabilize its purchasing power over time versus losing it like the dollar. So if you peg your stable token to the dollar, then you're not actually stable. You're just also an inflationary token too, right? So I think that's a untapped potential in crypto. It's what we've been working on for 3 years, and I'd love to bring that to EOS. So 1, flat coins, 2, DAOs. So those are both technologies that we've already been working with for the last few years. And I'd love to bring it to EOS, kind of put it out there. And then I think it'll get a lot more hype than it's been getting on the Telos side, because Telos is just a really tiny community. But we weren't even ready for hype anyway. And I think now we are. So I think that'd be really cool to, bring that to EOS, put it at the forefront of, the emerging DAO space, because we can do on-chain governance. And I think that's really awesome too. So that's what I would like to redirect the focus on. But now I'll pass it to Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to answer the question, and then I really want to hear more about flat tokens right after. That's interesting. So for me, as a non-developer that's taking part on EOS Canada's team and Diffuse's team streaming fast now, it's basically me and a bunch of developers. And one thing that kind of opened my eyes about is I think there's a need for funding developers more. So I think regardless of what someone like myself and non-tech people can build, if we don't have developers around us, we're obviously not going to build the tech that people will, bring more people in. So to me, I would be looking to fund people. I'm going to use these as examples, but these aren't the exact people I would fund. People like Greymass that are building, what's the best wallet experience? How do we onboard people and get them to be able to use this in a frictionless way? So developer groups like that are tackling how do I get someone from 0 to 20% of the way in? Because that's really the hardest part. And after that, it's kind of the diminishing return in terms of how hard it is to participate with a blockchain. So yeah, to me, it'd be developer groups. EOS bees is something that I've been looking at a bit as well recently. I like the idea of, let's create all these worker bees that go out and spread the message, because especially having been part of the launch of EOS, one thing that happened at the time, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but the narrative became, we created something called BIOS Boot, which is one way of bootstrapping a network in a decentralized way. And then there was the Ghostbusters crew, and the media, Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, they pinned this as there's two fighting factions of people that are trying to bootstrap EOS in a different way, and became this whole messy story that created a lot of FUD, a lot of shitty reporting, because someone would pick up on one aspect of what's going on, and they wouldn't say the other 95% of the good stuff that's going on, and even the 5% they reported on was misreported. It wasn't actually what was going on. So there's definitely a major need for grassroots community engagement, and I really like that aspect as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's for me. It's better communication and developers. Those are the two things that I think need some support. And on the developer thing, I just really like. This probably isn't the best forum for it, but I'd love to hear more about a flat stablecoin and what you guys are doing in that space, Rieki, because I agree something like that is a major something that's really needed.
David, Jesse, do you both want to hear about flat tokens? Well, you could talk about them for like 2 minutes if you guys want to.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, let's please do.
I mean, okay, so in its most basic form, there's this monetary equation. It's MV equals PT, which is basically the financial system on one side, the economic system on the other. In simple terms, it's saying, what's the demand for a currency? So, what's the demand for that currency in an economy? What's the demand for dollars? And then you can track the supply. This has always been a theoretical equation, because throughout history, we've never known the real demand for currencies, or really the supply, or how much they're circulating, or any of that, because it's been paper. A lot of it was untracked, it wasn't digital. But when you have a completely digital economy and a digital financial system, then you actually can algorithmically program this equation. Meaning, as demand for a currency increases or decreases, you can increase the circulating supply of that currency to meet new demand. So that doesn't actually make it stable on secondary markets. If there's a big influx of demand for this token, it could still go up in price. But what you're doing is you're saying within the economy where we're operating, we're going to have an intrinsically stable currency that's fluctuating its supply to meet demand within that economy. So the idea is that you could then price your goods and services, your wages, your items, or whatever in this currency, and it should stay the same, over decades. Opposed to, the Dollar General store just made a big announcement that they're going to start increasing their prices, right? The dollar menu at McDonald's is like $1.69 or something. like nothing stays stable in that way. So the idea is we can have currencies that remain stable, that's not robbing, wage workers of their life. And that's the first approach, is just doing the on-chain, I call it intrinsic stability. But then the secondary approach is what you see all the algorithmic currencies doing right now, which then we could take a basket of goods within our economy and then use the same thing that like Frax or Terra or all the other algorithmic stablecoins are doing to try to pin the secondary market price against a basket of good prices. But I think those two would work in tangent, is you have the on-chain issuance of a new currency to meet new demand, and then a secondary market balancing act that's working using things like collateralized debt positions like MakerDAO. So to give you an example of that on how collateralized debt positions work is you could take something like Bitcoin. You want Bitcoin, you want to hold on to it because it's supposed to be appreciating, but you want to access this better than free currency because you want to make purchases in it. Well, what you could do is then you could take that Bitcoin, lock it up in a contract and get a loan of, let's just use really simple math and say 1 Bitcoin equals 1,000 of this new currency. So you lock 1 Bitcoin up and you get 1,000 of this new currency. Okay, and you could buy back your Bitcoin at any time with that 1,000 tokens plus whatever the interest is that you're paying on it over time. So then if the value of those 1,000 tokens goes down, then you could buy back your Bitcoin at a discount, which then you're incentivized to do. And then if you do that, then the circulating supply of that token is going to go down, because then those tokens are going to be going back into the bank to buy back the Bitcoin. And then the inverse is true. If the value of those currency is going up, then people have an incentive to lock up their Bitcoin to acquire this appreciating token, right? Which then is going to increase the circulating supply of that token. So you can use this arbitrage mechanic to try to balance the price of the token against other assets like Bitcoin or something. So anyway, we can use the combination of those mechanics to create a more stable currency than what you see with central bank notes and stuff like that. That's a really big topic. I try to drop all in a few minutes, but maybe that made sense.
Thank you for the quick primer on what you guys are doing. Are you guys still working with Max Gravit?
Yeah, he's one of my best friends in core team. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, no, he's
so if you know what he's been up to, he's been building all the core technology behind Haifa. He's not super involved with seeds. We have another development team behind that. But yeah, he's the main developer behind Haifa and the DAO. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Max is great.
Yeah, no, he's we worked a lot with him. He used to diffuse quite a bit, so we used to talk quite a bit. I'm curious.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, Haifa's really been using it. So that's great. And thank you for doing that.
It wasn't me, awesome. I'm a developer. I'll pass on the praise to other people who deserve it.
Awesome.
I was wondering, maybe I could ask that you heard of maybe the Phi app? And I was wondering, is that a DAO? Because that was like a year ago. And first crypto I ever heard of is Xavier Hawk, I think is the guy's name. Have you ever heard of that?
No,
Xavier Hawk, and it's an app where you can vote with tokens on projects, communities around the world. So I don't know. Well, okay. Just want to take the opportunity. Maybe you heard of it or not.
Is he doing it with EOS.io or EOS and this ecosystem at all? Do you know?
No, it's not in the EOS ecosystem. It's just like topically similar. It's like just some DAO, I guess, or something similar. So.
So just looking at the meeting timer, we've got 10 minutes left. I guess one question I got to you, Rieki, because you were part of at least some of the practice round. Is it worthwhile to have like a vote, see where people are at now, and then whittle it down further? Or what did you guys do in the first round, or did you not even make it there in the first?
Yeah, I mean, I might have even suggested we do like a practice one 20 minutes ago. But yeah, right now I think is a good time. We could just go in a circle. Everyone can mention who they might, pick going forward, and we could just keep going around in a circle until we narrow one down.
Okay. I mean, I would never vote for myself in things, so my vote goes to Rieki.
I'm going to take that same position, and my vote would go to Josh.
I gotta support Rieki here. I think you have some really great ideas, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, I would vote for Rieki here because I think that DAO and the flat coin, oh, we're running out of time, is a great combination and combines elements that are going to be very important going forward.
Perfect. So there we got it. Rieki goes forward. I'm here now, Rieki. The money that you would use from this, how would it? What would it be used for within the hyphen seeds?
Specifically, it would be used to get one more dev to bring this over to EOS. That's the only thing I think I'm interested in. Is we already have the tech working on Telos, but I think it'd be great to bring it to EOS. So it's really just forking it, being the EOS ambassador and helping expand it in that ecosystem. Honestly, I was, when I started this, I was like, yeah, EOS Canada, Josh, let's give it to him. Plus I want to go to bed, but I'll take it. But yeah, that's how I would put it. Is I'm super bullish on DAOs, and the bullish exchange I think is great. And flat coins, and I think this is just the best technology for them. I've used DAOs in almost every other ecosystem because I'm constantly trying to see what the experience is like. And just the other day I was in Cosmos, and the whole thing with Cosmos is they want you to stake all their tokens, right? So that's what I do. Any tokens I earn, I go back and stake them. But then I went to go vote, and it's like, oh, I don't have enough tokens to vote because I staked them all. I'm like, shit, I can't even participate in governance because it wants me to pay. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think like once people are actually using the technology and see how far USIO is ahead, like I just think most people in crypto, they're not actually using the tech or the tools. It's just more speculation, and just being really involved with the tech over the last, oh shit, it's been a decade now. I don't know. EOSIO is just so great. I think it got a really bad rap, but I think it's time to really be able to show off what it can do, and I'm excited to do that. So that's, yeah, my focus. Did that answer your question at all, Josh?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I guess now with the last 7 minutes or so that we have left, I guess I would imagine the next part would be the three of us trying to say we think we obviously chose you to use the money how you see fit. And I guess it's more, can any money go towards EOSPs as an example, since it was brought up before? It's more, I guess it's that point, and obviously it's up to you to decide what to do, but I guess it's more involved with the EOSPs. Look forward to you on that.
Yeah, if for whatever reason I do make it to the end, which don't bank on me getting that far, but if I do, yeah, I mean, Haifa doesn't need a whole lot to bring it to EOS, so I think we'd have a lot left over to also support EOSBs, and I'd love to get streaming fast. Like I was already intending on working with you guys more anyway. Max, I think, loves your team. So if you guys are looking for more stuff to do, if you have any more resources, then we might even be able to hire you. But that also means we need more developers, which is a huge thing. So yeah, I'd also love to put some resources towards Josh, what you're talking about with getting developer support, bringing more into the ecosystem. That's freaking, none of these ideas matter if we don't have more people to build out the tech, right? So yeah, I'm super inclined, and I would even say if I was coming up with an imaginary split right now, I'd see it like, 30% EOSPs, 50% developer support, and 20% Haifa seeds, because again, we don't really need that much to bring it to EOS. So don't hold me to that, because I don't even know what these numbers look like, but that's just.
I think the Haifa stuff fits perfectly with the developer support in my mind. It's developers staying within the ecosystem. You're bringing something over. Every time you bring something over, it's going to add more to another project. They're going to be able to use you more, and they're going to say, oh, can you add this functionality? So to me, that's all part of the same bucket for sure. Jesse, you were going to say something awesome. There. It seemed like.
We kind of answered it. It was just like how you planned on using the funds, and I think you spoke to how you were going to try to get some more developers on your team and so forth. And yeah, I'm sure you would do it all through the EOS blockchain. So we could transparently like follow along and make sure that the funds are going to the right people accordingly and so forth. So yeah, you answered my question.
Very cool.
Just one more plug here.
Yeah.
We are just about finished with maybe this matters to some of you, but we're just about finished with an automated payout system for EOS, because we're built on Telos, but most of our treasury is on EOS because EOS is way more liquid than Telos. So we pay out all of the DAO workers using EOS tokens. Right now, it's still manual multi-sig where they make a claim and then we send it to them. But we just built out this thing. It took us almost a year to do bulk automated payouts, so that you can have 100 people requesting a payout and you could scan over it with one signature and then sign it. And then we've also been using, Gnosis Safe on Ethereum during this time too. And we've been using Bitcoin multi-sigs and all sorts of different ones to, because our treasury was pretty diverse and we were using multiple to pay out, but now we've just honed in on the EOS one and then built out this infrastructure to do mass payouts. And it's just, I don't know if this means anything to you, but on the DAO side, it's a complete game changer for us and it's going to save us hundreds of man hours. Yeah, that's just something exciting that we're also bringing to EOS.
No, it's definitely, I mean, a big part of why people used Diffuse back in the day was how can we send out 1,000, 10,000 transactions? And how can we go back and see, did they all pass the way we wanted them to do? What do we have to redo? Because before they'd have to figure out, okay, which one failed and why did these 1,000 not go out because of this one that failed? It is a hard technical problem to solve. So it's great that you guys overcame that.
Well, let's work together more, man. I mean, streaming fast sounds great. So I know you guys probably by necessity needed to work with other ecosystems and it just makes sense to do so. But, if I could reel you back into EOS a little bit more, if we could take the lead, that would be great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at the moment, we're on other blockchains and there's me and a couple other guys that want us to come back to EOS because it's once you go out and try other tech, you realize how much better it is here and what more you can do. It's just the story caused a lot of shit. But yeah, it's the kind of thing we all want to, once we can, we're trying to free up that time when we can. So I'll definitely see what we can do. Let's keep in touch for sure. But I know that we won't be able to anytime soon, unfortunately. So I'm curious, David and Jesse, now that you've gone through this first, what you called practice rounds almost for yourselves, will we take part in the next election? How was this for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely become more familiar with the EOSB's full plan here, just so I could try to make it to the next round, because I think it is an important initiative. And it's kind of crazy how the rooms are set up. Is it all just random? Our group right now, it's just picked randomly, or is there groups based on different categories, different ideas, from a developer's perspective or someone from more of a community perspective? Because I think our goals are, different. I think, the marketing of EOS is just as important as, say a project like the stablecoin. And I think those two will both help each other down the road, right? But yeah.
I think the rooms are made randomly, because at no point did I have to, maybe you guys did enter in, oh, here's what I'm interested in, or here's what I do.
Right.
It's different for me because a lot of people within the community actually know me, or I worked with a lot of people who built Eden, but that's few and far between. Most people are probably fairly unknown on what they would like. So I imagine it's got to be completely random. And knowing Dan, I think he would have built something that wasn't.
That's true. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all works out and what ideas actually make it to the top. So it's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, there's 4 seconds left in case it cuts off automatically. It was really nice to meet you guys. Let's see if it cuts off. I know it does. Okay, I wasn't sure if it would or not. Yeah, no, it's really nice to meet all you guys, and it was nice chatting and hearing what you guys are doing, working on, and how you're getting involved.
It was a great experience. I just heard the intro, the Genesis call. I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna work. Okay. Listen. what is it going to feel like? Will it be simple? Will it be straightforward? Will it be fast? So yeah, all these things, great experience for me, and good meeting you all.
Yeah, likewise. Josh, awesome. Let's stay in touch. Love to keep building with you. Jesse, thank you for EOSBs. I've only seen just a little bit about it with the logo. It's kind of fun. Into that. And David, welcome to this wild world, man. It's an endless rabbit hole. So good luck. Say the least. But cheers, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
Best.
guys.
Cheers.
See ya.